Growing up in Coyoacán, Frida was exposed to a world rich in color, culture, and history. Mexico's vibrant traditions, its folk art, its rituals, its celebrations formed the backdrop for Frida's youth. Despite the challenges she faced from childhood polio and a body weakened by the accident that nearly took her life, Frida developed a fierce sense of self. She would often recall how her father, a photographer, would capture her images and instill in her a love for visual storytelling. It was through these early experiences that Frida developed the understanding that art could be a powerful form of communication, capable of expressing what words could not. But the turning point in Frida's life came in 1925, the year that altered her destiny. The bus accident that shattered her body left her confined to a hospital bed for months, where her isolation gave birth to an artistic voice unlike any before it. Her brush became an extension of her inner world, reflecting the sharp edges of the pain she experienced. During this time, she painted herself often, but not out of vanity. She painted herself because she was all she had. The mirror above her bed became her greatest confidant. Through the reflection of her face, the world saw not just the portrait of a woman, but the portrait of a soul struggling with the weight of its own existence. Her iconic self-portraits became windows into the many layers of Frida's identity. Each image was a metaphor for her physical and emotional struggles. The Broken Column, 1944, perhaps one of her most famous works, depicts her naked body with a shattered column in place of her spine, symbolizing the pain she endured every day. Her heart is exposed, pierced with nails, yet she stares directly at the viewer with an unwavering gaze. This image captures the essence of Frida, an unflinching confrontation with her pain, but also an acceptance of it. Frida also used her art to confront the political issues of her time. As a committed Marxist, she identified deeply with the struggles of the working class and marginalized communities. Her work often reflected these values, whether through her depictions of indigenous Mexican women, her own struggles with identity and body image, or her direct commentary on social and political injustices. In many ways, she was ahead of her time, challenging the norms of both the art world and society at large. Yet, her physical pain never stopped. Despite undergoing more than 30 surgeries throughout her life, Frida continued to paint. In fact, many of her later works were created while she was bedridden, her body broken, yet her spirit unyielding. The famous The Two Fridas, 1939, painted during her divorce from Diego, shows two versions of Frida, one dressed in traditional Mexican attire, the other in European-style clothing. Their hearts are connected by a vein, showing the fragility and strength of her identity, torn between two worlds but bound by a common thread. Frida Kahlo's life was a paradox of contradictions: beauty and pain, joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability, all tangled together in a way that made her both a symbol and a legend. Her work wasn't just art, it was an extension of her very essence, a dialogue between her body and soul, her suffering and her resilience. Frida's spirit was unbreakable, even as her health deteriorated. She died at the age of 47 on July 13, 1954. A death that was partly attributed to complications from her ongoing medical issues. But her legacy, in the form of her art, lived on. The day after her death, her body was displayed in her blue house, La Casa Azul, in Coyoacán, Mexico, where thousands gathered to mourn the woman whose life was so intricately tied to the struggles of the human condition. Today, Frida Kahlo's legacy endures as a symbol of empowerment, self-expression, and resilience. She became not just an artist, but a cultural icon. Her face, with its prominent eyebrows and bold, unashamed expression, has become synonymous with the celebration of individuality and defiance of societal expectations. "I am my own muse. I am the subject I know best," she once declared. And through her art, Frida Kahlo became both a symbol and a storyteller, weaving her pain, beauty, and life into timeless works that continue to inspire people around the world. Her paintings, often deeply personal and introspective, now hang in museums around the world, where they challenge viewers to confront their own ideas of beauty, identity, and pain. Frida Kahlo's message was clear: embrace your true self, with all its flaws and contradictions. Through her art, she taught us that there is power in vulnerability, and that even in the face of suffering, one can find strength. In the canvas of her life, Diego Rivera was a figure who both challenged and complimented her. Their marriage was tumultuous, filled with love, betrayal, and artistic collaboration. Rivera, a famous Mexican muralist, and Kahlo, though separated by a large age gap, found in each other a mutual respect for their craft. But their relationship was far from perfect. Both artists had passionate love affairs, and Rivera's infidelity would haunt their relationship. Frida, in return, had a well-publicized affair with Soviet revolutionary Leon Trotsky, who had sought refuge in Mexico. Yet, despite the pain and complexities, Frida and Diego remained entwined in both life and art. Frida's art is often infused with symbols of Mexican culture, symbols that spoke not only of pride but of rebellion. She rejected the idea of painting as an escape from reality, believing that art could reflect the raw truth of one's experience. Mexican folk art, with its bright colors, surreal elements, and bold iconography, found its way into her work. She painted flowers and animals, symbols of fertility, death, and regeneration, as a way of paying homage to her roots. Her intense connection to indigenous Mexican traditions became an act of resistance, a rejection of the dominant Western culture that often disregarded her heritage.